What's going on, everybody on YouTube? Steve here with Raiken Profit over at RaikenProfit.com. Coming back to you with another video. And in today's video, I wanted to talk a little bit about taxes. Yes, taxes. I do want to say in this video, you guys obviously know I am not an accountant, a CPA. This isn't legal advice. This is just advice coming from a guy on the internet. So with that being said, always take what anybody says on the internet if they're giving you legal or tax advice when they're not an accountant or whatever with a grain of salt. So with that out of the way, let's talk about whether to pay your income tax quarterly or at the end of the year. So as you guys know, if you're running a business, there's two types of taxes you're going to be paying. One is that sales tax to the states. So it's going to be different for each state. From my understanding, I know some states require it at the end of each month. Over here in Connecticut, where I live, we have to pay the sales tax to Connecticut quarterly, so every 3 months. So that's one part of the mix. And then the second part is the income tax that you can either pay quarterly, every quarter, or at the end of the year. So let's talk about, should you pay your income tax quarterly or should you pay it at the end of the year? So I'm gonna tell you guys what I do. A couple years back when I first started to run my business, I decided to pay it at the end of the year. I didn't know any better. And when I got to the end of the year, I had like a $7,000 or $8,000 bill. And I was like, holy moly, like that's a lot of money that I have to pay. I hadn't really managed my money to my best abilities, and having to pay that big chunk of money at the end of the year kind of hurt me. And I had wished that I would have saved for it or at least prepared better. So one thing I want to say is if you're going to pay your income tax at the end of the year, you're going to have to manage your money properly. Put money aside, right? Put your money aside, or at least manage it, or make sure that you have the money ready. Because, you know how it is at the end of the year. We're kind of exhausted. We've been grinding it out. And the last thing you want to do is drain your account all the way down to nothing. So a few years back when I had to do that, it was actually really disappointing. And I was looking for a way to be able to do things differently. So as you guys know, my father is a CPA. He's been a CPA for, I don't know, over 20 years. And the next year we were discussing like what to do and kind of how to combat this. And he ended up telling me about paying your income tax quarterly. So pretty much what that is and what we did was we sat down at the end of that year and we kind of talked about how much money we thought I was going to bring in for the next year. We kind of estimated my income. So we estimated my income, and then based off of that income, my father, who again is a CPA, was able to create a rough estimate of how much money I would have to pay at the end of the year if I showed that much income and profit, and after we broke it all down. So once that was accomplished, then we broke down how much my quarterly taxes would be, which would amount to that number. So for example, say that we estimated that based on my profit and everything, I would have a $20,000 tax bill at the end of the year. So what we did was we broke it down into quarterly payments, and I don't know the exact details because I'm not a tax professional, but pretty much what we did was we communicated with the IRS and we set up estimated tax payments per quarter. So each quarter I paid $5,000, and that's just an estimate. I'm just throwing out a random number. We set up payments, so at a certain date each quarter, I would send in the money to the IRS and it would be taken care of. And each quarter I would do that. So then at the end of the year, what we would do is we would sit down, do my taxes, and figure out, did the numbers match up? If I made a lot more money, then obviously I would owe a little more in taxes, but it wouldn't be a huge, $20,000 bill as in this example. And if I made less or a lot less, then it would adjust and I would either get money back or I would roll it into the next quarterly tax. So the real point of this video is just to let you know, if you were stuck with a huge tax bill at the end of the year, you may want to talk to your accountant or CPA about setting up quarterly taxes for your income tax. So hopefully this video helped. Again, guys, I may have been off a little bit with some of the terminology. I'm still learning a lot about taxes and doing my best to try to understand all the terminology and the processes and all that. But really, I just want to let you know that there are options out there. So definitely talk to your CPA. Thanks for watching and talk to you soon. To put together a cool little thing on my phone, which I actually, I just dropped my phone, which I actually watched in a video by Caleb Roth. So if you're not following Caleb Roth, check him out. I'll put a link to his blog below, but he had a cool video on YouTube that was sharing like a little setup that he had. So pretty much what he did was he took his scan fob and he set up like this Velcro type of deal on the back of his phone, and it clicked on. So it turned into one unit. So you were able to use one hand, because the problem is with my setup now, I've either got to lean this